You describe Moses, from what I understand, as barbaric and a little bit schizophrenic.
Here we go. Right. Okay, so these are things that do not happen in the film. All right?
Okay.
But let me explain both of those pieces. If you had a gentleman, I was trying to think about how would Moses be received today, all right? And if you had a gentleman who was Moses was meant to have been the only man who ever actually was in the presence and spoke with God and heard him, you know? And if he arrived today, are you likely to say he's a prophet and I'm going to follow him? I think nowadays people would be far more skeptical and they would probably say something else.
I also noticed in the film, maybe I'm wrong, maybe it was just makeup, but I watched Rescue Dawn a few nights ago, and you lost, that was amazing, obviously.
Oh, thank you.
You lost so much weight. Did you lose weight when you went out in the desert for this film? You looked skinnier.
Here's the thing. I was losing weight, and we managed to capture it at the right moments where he should be. But here was Ridley's dilemma. We had been talking on the phone, and between when we first met and then met again, I went away and I shot a film called American Hustle, and I looked like Santa Claus.
Right.
And I put on like 43 pounds, and it was all in my gut. And so when I actually walked into Rid's office, and now talk about a good actor, I could never compete with the acting that Rid managed that day in the office, where he didn't just go, yeah, get a casting director quickly, he's not it. Because his face couldn't help. He looked at my girth, and he looked at the hair, and then he went, very short hair. But I could see he was going,
I know, this role is really cool. I've never seen you in this. I don't think any of us have this sort of thing. But you turned down roles. You turned down the Steve Jobs thing, or you backed out of it. What was wrong about that role?
It's a wonderful script, wonderful director. Everything seems absolutely fantastic. Sometimes you have to realize that you're not the right piece of the puzzle for a project.
And be confident. And Ben Affleck, Batman?
Good for him. He'll do a wonderful job. We were done. You know, we always said we had a trilogy, and of course you get those sobering moments where you go, well, that was mine, and it was very quick that there was somebody else playing him. But I always said 3. And unless it was Chris going to be directing, then, you know, never again. So I wish him all the best, and he'll do a fantastic job.
In this thing, too, with the kid, the little 10-year-old, going back to him, kids are so entitled these days. When I saw this little kid mouthing off as God, do you have children?
Yeah.
Do you have children?
3.
Are you guys good? Are you strict with your kids?
Very.
You are.
My kids aren't kids
They
anymore.
don't act
Adults.
like that. They are. Okay.
They're adults.
Mine run wild. Mine
Just
are crazy.
gods, little gods everywhere.
Not little gods, no. But I always tell my daughter, question authority, question me all the time. You know?
Really?
If I don't have a good reason for it, because I said so doesn't fly with me as a dad. I say, if you ever hear me saying because I said so, say, nah, that's not gonna
What about when she's 15?
That's all. You know what? If I don't have the right answer, then she should question me, because I always tell her, your dad's a bit of an idiot, right? Okay. And I don't have all the answers, and often the best thing to say is, I don't know.